We have got Eugene. Said, do you think the recent removing of jokes is Shredder 2.0, C-Suite's removing every liability, or Silverpine 2.0? Devs finally doing things they've wanted to do for a long time. I am definitely going to lean on Silverpine, not C-Suite. Now, okay, I'll tell you what. I think if Bobby hears that, you know, World of Warcraft is full of you know, super overt blowjob jokes, and he hears that Warcraft is, not to put this all on Bobby personally, and Bobby maybe hears, you know, in-game jokes and farts that you could certainly see as being quite racially insensitive, he's not going to be happy. And, you know, in those cases, like for you know, good reasons, I'd say. But so there's some of them that, like, I can totally understand the removal of, because they are a bit like, oh yeah, maybe in 2004 we weren't thinking about some of those things. But for a bunch of them, like the Mile High Club, it's like, humans are horny? That's pretty inclusive. I mean, not everyone's horny. There are asexual people as well, I suppose. But you know, I don't think they would mind there being sexual humor going around. They still live in a world with sexuality in it. You know.
Yeah, I think if you're on, they call it the 8th spectrum. I think if you're on that and find sexual things offensive, that's not a pragmatic approach to have, I think.
Yeah, because it just is there in the world, right? So it's because of that, Eugene. It's because of the removal of, like, I can crush steel between my thighs, which, you know, that's like oh, Bubby, crush my skull, you know, like internet-y joke thing, which is like, well, that's just what it is. It's funny. It's funny to people. It's just a little bit of horny funny, in a way that is inclusive, is not punching down. Blizzard said they wanted their innuendos and stuff to be inclusive and not punch down. So why did that one go? That makes me think that it's Silverpine 2.0 a little bit more, basically. Yeah, I think that's most of it for that one. I think another side of it too is they're probably just, you know, a lot more hypersensitive of these sorts of issues. You know, a little bit given just broader American cultural context with, you know, like Me Too and everything, and just a lot more things being in the public conversation, and then that really being honed to a fine point for them because of, I mean, it happened to them just down the road with Riot. And then it very much happens in their own culture, and probably in a way where a lot of people have been, you know, suffering for years under some pretty rough situations. So that's why I'd say Silverpine 2.0. I mean, I think there's some things are unfortunate. I disagree with the Sylvanas change. I mean, you could maybe say that, like, the Sylvanas thing would have been more acceptable if there was more similar utterances to other characters in the universe. So it's like, in isolation, I think the Sylvanas thing, you know, is like thumbs up. Garrosh was pretty fucking right about that whole situation. Sylvanas was doing absolutely horrible things. But you could maybe say that perhaps there should have been some more balance. And, you know, not just things being there, only targeted at Sylvanas. So, you know, that's where I would say, okay, well, keep the Sylvanas thing in, but, you know, be sure to, you know, be inclusive in your, you know, jabs at people and stuff. So, you know, if there's a male character, you know, I'm not going to get I suppose that then sort of a whole context of there being inequality between them is totally true too. So that is why I suppose it is just a big thing. I mean, in isolation, look, that is how Sylvanas was acting. Garrosh, I guess, in context is totally fine to say that, but you can sort of see why. I would say the way really out of this that would have been more ideal is to not do a Silverpine 2.0. It is to make the world more robust and more capable of handling a broader quantity of mature topics and themes and dialogue. That, you know, can just hold a far more broad church. And then to say, yeah, okay, in 2004, it was the old boys club, had the blinders on, weren't aware of certain things. Well, we're going to take all of the good that people loved of that and just, you know, have a broader perspective on it all and do a better job. I would have preferred that versus the more sanitary way of doing it, but there you go.
Yeah, I mean, I think the most sort of reasonable takeaway is the devs are actioning it, but the C-suite aren't going to say, stop that. The C-suite are going to go, Ah.
The C-suite are going to see the Warcraft team post about the evolution of creative content, and they're going to think, oh, good, that's in line with what the company wants to do.
Yep. Wait, you're making us immune to criticism from the direction that we really don't want criticism? Sweet, keep her lit.